In the quiet and seemingly idyllic town of Millfield, a sinister presence lurked beneath the surface, hidden from the watchful eyes of its unsuspecting residents. The local police force had always prided itself on maintaining law and order, but they were about to face a threat beyond their comprehension. Officer Jake Thompson patrolled the streets, his footsteps echoing through the deserted town. It was well past midnight, and an eerie silence enveloped Millfield. The night sky was overcast, casting a dim, foreboding light upon the desolate streets. Jake's instincts warned him that something was amiss. As he turned a corner, a chilling gust of wind swept through the empty alley, causing him to shiver involuntarily. Shadows danced along the walls, their movements unnaturally elongated and distorted. A sense of dread washed over Jake, his heart pounding in his chest. With a flicker of movement, a figure emerged from the darkness. Its pale, ghastly face bore an expression of sorrow and despair. The figure's eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity, fixed on Jake with a haunting familiarity. Fear gripped him as he realized that he was face to face with a supernatural entity. Frozen in place, Jake watched as the figure approached him, its ethereal form seeming to pass through solid objects. It emitted a mournful wail, a sound that pierced the silence and sent chills down his spine. Questions raced through Jake's mind, but before he could react, the apparition vanished into thin air. Shaken and bewildered, Jake hurried back to the police station, desperate to make sense of what he had just witnessed. He confided in his fellow officers, who regarded him with a mixture of skepticism and concern. But little did they know that they were about to experience their own encounters with the supernatural. Over the following nights, reports of strange phenomena flooded the police station. Officers encountered ghostly figures wandering the streets, doors slamming shut on their own accord, and unexplained whispers echoing through the hallways. The once skeptical officers now found themselves thrust into a terrifying reality they could not deny. Determined to get to the bottom of the supernatural occurrences, the police force delved into the town's dark history. They discovered that Millfield had been a site of tragedy in the past, with tales of mysterious disappearances and unsolved murders that had haunted the town for decades. It seemed that the restless spirits of the past had awakened, seeking justice and retribution. Officer Emily Reynolds, a seasoned investigator, dedicated herself to unraveling the truth behind the paranormal activity. She delved into old records, spoke to longtime residents, and consulted local historians in her quest for answers. The more she uncovered, the darker and more sinister the truth became. Emily learned of an abandoned house on the outskirts of town, rumored to be the epicenter of the supernatural disturbances. Locals whispered tales of dark rituals and malevolent forces that had been unleashed within its walls. With trepidation, Emily decided to confront the source of the haunting, determined to bring an end to the town's torment. Armed with her fellow officers and an arsenal of equipment, Emily entered the dilapidated house. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, and the sound of her own footsteps seemed muffled, as if swallowed by the house's unholy presence. Every step forward felt like a descent into madness. As they explored the decaying rooms, strange symbols adorned the walls, and the scent of decay filled the air. The supernatural energy grew stronger, pressing against their senses with an undeniable force. It was as if the house itself was alive, feeding off their fear and desperation. In the dim light, Emily's flashlight illuminated a hidden chamber in the basement. As they cautiously descended the creaking stairs, the air grew heavy with an otherworldly chill. They discovered an altar, covered in ancient writings and surrounded by candles, their flickering flames casting eerie shadows on the walls. A sudden gust of wind extinguished the candles, plunging the room into darkness. Whispers echoed through the chamber, growing louder and more menacing with each passing moment. The officers stood their ground, their resolve tested to its limits. Summoning every ounce of courage, Emily stepped forward, holding a relic she had found during her investigation. She recited a chant she had uncovered, a plea to restore peace and banish the supernatural forces that plagued Millfield. The room trembled, and a blinding light burst forth, dispelling the darkness. When the light subsided, the officers found themselves back in the basement, but the oppressive energy had dissipated. They knew that they had succeeded in their mission, bringing an end to the supernatural torment that had plagued the town. Millfield slowly returned to its peaceful state, the townspeople unaware of the horrors that had unfolded. The police force, forever changed by their encounter with the supernatural, continued their duty with newfound respect for the unseen forces that dwell among us. But the memory of that night would forever haunt their dreams, a reminder that there are depths of darkness and terror that exist beyond our comprehension. Millfield would never be the same, forever marked by the lingering presence of the supernatural that had been unearthed in its midst.